The Disney Company. Not only is it a company content with wanting to destroy physical media, but they're now content with wanting to destroy the product that is put upon any physical media. Your films and your TV. They are taking away that which you love. They've angered me, and we're going to talk about it. So welcome back to the channel, everyone, and this is a harrowing story. Obviously, it's come to light over the past few days that the movie The French Connection has been edited. It's been edited down for streaming services. The film has been cut, and if there's any future releases of the movie on physical media, will likely include these cuts also. Now, the cuts involved in this movie are surrounding the Gene Hackman character and certain racial slurs that the character might utilise in the context of the movie. So, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this, honestly speaking? You've got a character that is bigoted, is morally corrupt, who is wrong, but that's what the character is in the context of the story. What he does is part of his character. This is not a dig of a slight at anyone or any person or any race of people. It's the character and what he is. We're at a point now where things have gone crazy, as you know, where people get offended at every slight little thing that comes along, and it seems to be that everyone has this right to be offended by something that doesn't even actually offend them. In fact, they're so worried about something offending someone else that they kick up about it. And this is exactly what's happening here with The French Connection. It's not like no one has spoken up and said, hold on a minute, you know, this film is now upsetting people. This film has upset. No, it's been looked at, and Disney, in their infinite wisdom, for whatever reason, has looked at it and thought, there's a potential here for something. There's a potential. So let's delete it prior to anything actually being said, which is wrong. Now, we're living in a time of revisionist history. We're living in a time where TV, books, you know, soon it'll go to art and things like this, where things are being altered because of this potential of upset, right? We've lived a lifetime. You know, the human race has been here for well, a blink of an eye in the realms of existence, but for ourselves, quite a considerable amount of time. And over that, we have grown and we have developed as individuals, as races. And things go on still, things that are wrong, but are they as bad as what they used to be? Probably in some aspects, yes. But what's worse is that we've taken this, and I don't mean we as in me and you, but you know, people have jumped onto this bandwagon of being upset by something, whether it be comedy, visual art, whatever it may be. People get wound up and get offended, and they think it's their right to be offended and for this stuff to be removed, stuff to be changed. You know, you've got books that are being altered, so, and this is just crazy. This is one of the worst things I have ever come across. Now, as we know, Disney don't want physical media. They don't want physical media to be alive, right? They set up Disney Plus over the COVID period. They started introducing their shows, and they started stopping releasing stuff on physical media. This is true because they wanted the physicality side of things to die and the streaming side of things to go like that, where on streaming they have full control of everything that they do. Everything that they give you, they have control of. They can edit it however they damn well want. They don't care about art. You know, the art form of filmmaking has vanished. Filmmaking isn't an art anymore to anyone. Actually, that's an unfair thing to say. There's small independent films that are made for the purposes of art, but your cinemas are filled with big budget blockbuster movies made by committee, made solely for one reason and one reason only, and that is to make money. And I understand that. I get that. Business first. Disney, whoever, whatever company you're talking about, they are a business and they're there to make money. They're there to make money for their shareholders and all this sort of a thing, right? And that's solely what they're about. So art comes second to that. This is why you have films that are interfered with, films that are changed and all this sort of. If you want art films, you go and see small independent films. And a lot of stuff probably doesn't even get greenlit for this very reason, about the money. Now, Disney altering stuff like this, you could argue that it's done to protect people. To protect people from whatever the film has, to make themselves look good in a certain light. I won't say make themselves look good, more a case of you're now screening this stuff with these slight edits made so that no one can look at you and think, that's a bit questionable to be showing that. I'm going to send a harshly worded email to Disney and kick off about it, or kick off on Twitter about it and create a storm of potential storm of trouble. So they're acting before that has even occurred. However, you've got to understand that these films come from a period when things were different, when sensibilities were different, when we looked at things differently. And I'm not saying that we looked at things correctly. We certainly didn't. But a lot of this stuff isn't done in a hateful way. To write a character in a certain way is not a hate-filled way. It's a representation of this person. If I, as a screenwriter, wanted to, you know, I've come up with a story idea, and my story idea revolves around or requires a character who is racially hates people and all this sort of a thing. It's not a reflection on me as a writer. It's not a reflection on the studio. It's a story, and this character has been created to tell a story. It's not been done for any other reason than from a narrative standpoint, that I require a character of this ilk for a particular reason. To then later on take a character and alter him and cut these bits out so this character doesn't come across like that, essentially could ruin a narrative and an impact of narrative at the film's conclusion and the character's story arc and that character's concluding point in the story. Do you know what I mean? So we've seen this a few times now. We know that Disney have edited stuff before. They've edited a wealth of their animated features for one reason or another. And now it's just stepping into the world of ludicrousness. And like I said, it's not the fact that it's actually this film. It's not the fact that it's the principle of it. They're setting a certain precedence for themselves to say that we can do this, and you know, and it's wrong. It's wrong, and this is where the physical media needs to stay alive before these films are re-released in a cut state. If they were ever to get re-released, it's an argument for that physical media to be sticking around and for us to keep a hold of our collections that we have, because all the time that we've got them, they cannot be tampered with. On Disney Plus, you have Disney Plus, they can be tampered with. However, do people care? This is the other question, right? Is it a case of Disney trying to transition through a tough period, that doing this stuff, that they know that generally it's going to be older people that grew up with these films, that are the ones that are moaning about the edits being made. And they know that as time goes on, them numbers are going to dwindle because we get older, we pass away, and then you've got the younger generation of people coming through. And let's be honest, the younger generation people, you know, they don't have the attention spans. And I'm not saying this in a derogatory light. It's true. The younger generation, for the most part, there are exceptions to the rule. If you're one of them and you want to kick off, their attention spans are minute. Hence why when you go on a cinema experience now, everyone in the audience is on their phone, right? People would much rather watch a 15-second TikTok video, even swipe off of a 15-second TikTok video, because that seems too long and boring. So a narrative is difficult for them to get into. So for a film like The French Connection, how many younger generation people are going to be switching it on? And if they do, are they actually going to be sat there watching it fully engaged in the movie, or is it just going to be background noise to them with them on their phones? So for a lot of people, this sort of stuff will just pass them by and they wouldn't even realise that this has come to pass. So you need to get that older generation of people that do realise out of the way. They know that it's a period of pain, a period of, and they have to get through that painful period. But then we need to make it painful for Disney. We need to do videos like this. We need to talk up about this sort of a thing and say to Disney, no, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? They tried it with Captain America, you know, the Winter Soldier TV show that they'd done, Falcon and Winter Soldier. There was an edit made on TV. Not 6 months after that show came out, it's a bit with a pole piercing someone or something like that, and they were pulled on it, and they went back and changed it, and they said, oh no, that was an accident, that version wasn't meant to have been shown. Rubbish. Had no one said anything, that version would have stayed in situ. And how many other changes have gone that people have not even realised? There must be some out there, changes that have made to movies that people don't even know. And this is a worrying trend. It's one of those trends now that's gaining traction, that is continuing and getting worse and worse and worse, because it's such a woke society that we live in, that everything has to be changed. Everything has to form part of this revisionist history, where we can look back and we can say, we can, you know, because we can alter that and pretend that never happened. But pretending something never happened is denying that it ever happened, that we ever lived like this. Now, I know that some Disney stuff, they do put a warning up at the beginning of that film, and they say, look, this film may offend some people because it shows things of a nature of a time that is now essentially a bygone era. But at what point do sensibilities get far worse, that film is then looked upon and thought, hold on a minute, 10 years ago we looked at this movie and we said, you know, we should put a warning up, but now, looking at it now from today's standards, I think we need to actually remove this film altogether, or I think we need to delete this section of the film and this section of the film to now make it comfortable for that. You know, so it isn't just a case of the here and now, it's a case of what's happening in 10 years' time, what's going to happen in 20 years' time, if this stupid nonsense continues that's going on now. We're living in strange, worrying times, you know, when a book, you know, not even the person who's written the book, that person's long dead and buried and in the ground, and their work is being altered to appease people of today. At what point do you look at something that Shakespeare's written and you make alterations to that, or you look at Chaucer and the Canterbury Tales and you make alterations to that, or you make alterations to music, or you look at the Venus de Milo and you want to put a pair of arms on it and you want to cover it up. You know, you want to alter Mona Lisa's smile because we're unsure of the look that she's giving, and this sort of nonsense, because film is an art form. Film is, yeah, and certainly films back then, they need to be preserved. This stuff needs to be preserved as it was made, not the alterations that seemingly woke companies that are possibly doing it for the purpose of money, etc., are deeming it fit to change things in the hope that you, the viewer, number one, don't notice, and number two, don't care anyway. It's a case of, if we carry on doing this, maybe people will just accept it and shut up. We don't want to shut up. We need to keep talking about this. We need to keep letting them know that this is an unacceptable practice, that this is not going to be accepted. You know, Disney Plus for me, you know, is gone. Disney Plus removing the content that they're removing. Okay, the content that they're removing hasn't affected me in no shape, way or form. However, the practice of doing it, they should be putting more on there, not taking stuff away from people. You take it away, I delete me going on there. I'll stick to my physical media, and I'll stick to the damn bootlegs as well if I have to. And I do have to. And that's just another side of this argument. Anyways, that's me done. That's the argument over. What do you think about Disney and their abhorrent practices of deleting films, of editing films down so that some silly individual somewhere who it doesn't actually affect is getting upset for people because they think they're protecting other people? It does my damn nut in, and at that, I'm off. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this entire thing that's going on. It's a worrying time. It really is. I've never seen the likes of this since. I'd get pulled if I mentioned what the Germans, the Nazis, done during World War II with the burning of books. I'll probably be pulled on that. So let's not go down that road. But are we? Anyway, it's AJ. See you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.